All right, Todd. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you on. I mean, I feel like we were already just having and diving into our conversation anyways. But I would love for our community first just to get to know a little bit more about you and your story and how you got into the fitness industry and have built this amazing community. And really, I look at it as like this, your TMAC Fitness empire.
Wow, it's been a hell of a journey, Kate. Thanks for having me on. So to give you kind of the Cliff Note version, grew up in small rural town, North Florida, right on the Florida-Georgia line. The closest mall, bowling alley, any of that growing up, movie theater was about 40 miles away. So, as a kid growing up, we'd go into the city, so to speak, which is the west side of Jacksonville, about once or twice a year and get school clothes. And if we were lucky, mom drugged dad into town. He took us to Red Lobster. So that was fine dining for us. And the whole time he just bitched about how he could have made a better steak at home. But those biscuits were good. So yeah, I kind of grew up. I never in a million years think I'd be doing yoga and meditation. But, I was fortunate to play football at the University of Florida, spent the first half of my life really dedicated to, pursuing that dream. And then through that process, I ended up having 5 surgeries and a bunch of other injuries. That led me to studying yoga because I couldn't lift weights anymore. I was just, as an athlete, like my whole life, I've been waking up early in the morning training. And then there's that transition afterwards where it's like, you're not getting paid to do this. Why are you still doing this? But you feel better working out. But I couldn't go use the normal modalities that I knew with, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, that type of stuff. And so I stumbled into a yoga class, honestly, because there was a hot girl wearing Lululemon pants that invited me. So that was the first time I could get in a great sweat and not hurt. And I knew there was something there to explore. And so I spent the next probably 5 to 7 years studying under this great yoga teacher, Vinny Marino, in Santa Monica. And then was able to merge what I knew as an athlete with yoga. Because I was doing the yoga and I noticed I was losing kind of cardiovascular, my ability there. And I was getting a little skinny and scrawny. My football teammates were making fun of me a little bit. But my body felt great. So I started merging what I knew as an athlete, what I knew was yoga. And that led to a 20-minute home workout program called TMAC 20. And we basically serve a lot of mom and dads around the world who like to work out, like to have a daily connection with God, just don't have the time. And so we created these 20-minute bodyweight workouts that all ended in meditation and prayer. We've kind of harvested this amazing community of awesome people that are just like-minded, that want to wake up and move their bodies and connect to their spiritual practice so they can give their best to their children, their coworkers, and their spouse. So that's the Cliff Note version. There you go.
I love it. That was great, Todd. I know I love so much that you connect, and we're going to dive into the meditation piece of it, but that you connect fitness and, working out and exercising with that mindful connection. And I also love that your workouts are 20 minutes because I think too, especially for moms and dads and just for people in general, we can create or make typically 20 minutes in our day. But I found with so many people, if it's, an hour-long workout or even 45 minutes, it can just be overwhelming. So one thing I also love about your program is you really focus on building sustainable habits. And are there certain things within your program that you teach to your community to really help them build those habits, even if it's just staying consistent with their workouts and making sure they're fitting them in?
Well, so one thing we always say, right, is that we all know that a good workout makes you feel great, right? You get those positive feel good endorphins rush, right? And so we all know what it feels like. We just don't make the time for it because we're busy with, you got kids, you got soccer practice, et cetera. We always say that, always know that you're 20 minutes away from being in a better mindset. And there's something about just knowing that you're 20 minutes away. So the kid takes a nap, or maybe you get your ass up 20 minutes early, right? Maybe the kid's playing soccer and you do your 20-minute workout while the kid's playing soccer at the field. I never want a dad. One of the best testimonials I've heard over the years is hey, I just wanted to say thanks so much for your program talk. I used to have to choose between going to the gym after work and going to my kids' soccer games. I never want a dad to make that choice. I want him to be able to go to his kid's soccer game and then still be able to have time to get in his workout. And so I think understanding that you're just a short period away from being in a better mindset. And then we strip away all excuses. Our workouts literally require no equipment, right? So that was that blend of yoga with HIIT training, whereas you have zero excuses. Like, just give me 20 minutes and we'll transform your body. So stripping away all the excuses. And then we have a few foundational things that we do, like when we take people through our challenges and onboard new customers, right? So we'll do like a 20-day challenge a couple of times a year. And it's really based on like 3 things that I think is essential for someone developing a new habit. Like, behavioral change is really freaking hard. And so this is why, like, we try to take people through our 20-day challenge first. And it starts with just understanding why you want to develop this new habit, right? Like, say most people come to lose 10 pounds. Great. I think it's amazing. I don't think we should shame that. Let's try to help people lose 10 pounds, but understand why, right? It's like, maybe you want to improve your sex life with your spouse, right? Like, maybe you want more energy to play with your kids and you come home from work and you're just feeling tired all the time. These are great things. Like, just take the moment to understand why you want to develop this new habit. The second part is accountability, right? Studies show that you're 95% more likely to reach your goal if you have a daily check-in. So you have to build in some sort of accountability partner. So during our challenges, we have people partner up with someone where they have a daily check-in each day, right? And so this could be a friend, this could be a coworker, you could hire a coach if you needed to. I know you're a coach as well and a dietitian. You can hire someone like yourself, but you need some sort of daily check-in. Hey, just checking in, show me a picture of your 10,000 steps or your workout. So that's step 2. And the third part is that you have to figure out a program that meets you where you are right now. So say if you want to go run a marathon, running a marathon is your goal. You don't start running all 26 miles the first day, right? Start with running for 5 minutes. Get where you can run for 5 minutes every single day. Next week, build up to 10 minutes. So one of the things that we've done is that, I started this program with all these kick-ass advanced workouts for a lot of athletes like myself. And I realized that they were too hard for the majority of people trying to develop a new habit. So we brought in amazing trainers that are way more gifted than I am that teach beginner workouts. So we have people that have never worked out, haven't worked out in 10 years that are doing our program. It's just helping meet them where they are. And so I think that's a critical part too, is just figuring out like where you are right now, take an honest assessment. This is why gym memberships try to grab you for a year membership in January because they know your ass isn't going to be there in April, right? And that's how the fitness industry's made all their money. And so what we try to do is help bring people along, meet them where they are, and surround them with a group of people that are like-minded to encourage them.
I love that. And I'm such a Atomic Habits by James Clear junkie. And
Fantastic
so I love
book.
Oh my God. I mean, I've read tons of habits books. It is by far the best.
Yeah.
And I love when you brought up the 5-minute piece, like instead of thinking about, if your goal is to run a marathon, just running 5 minutes, or even if it's, you're really not working out right now. And maybe you start doing just a 5-minute walk or getting moving. And I remember in the book, he talks a lot about that. Like, even if it was like just going to the gym, you don't even have to do anything, just go there. And I think it's just, it's breaking down those barriers. And I love that. I mean, everything you've said with your program does that, breaking down all those barriers that people and those excuses that we all make for ourselves. Right. And just making it attainable. And I'm curious in terms of the meditation piece, one, just, where did that start for you, Todd? Like, have you always meditated and where did that come from? But how have you seen it affect the community you've built and your clients?
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot there. I want to make sure I answer all those, but so remember the part about me being from North Florida? Trust me, there's no one fucking meditating in North Florida.
I was assuming you probably weren't meditating your whole life.
No, definitely not. Never in a million years. But what was important, I came to know Christ at 12 years old. And my relationship with Jesus has been a huge part of who I am. And so I'd always wake up in the morning and be like, God, I'd get on my knees and be with me today, be with my family, like all great intentions. But I was honestly half-assing and looking back, I was like, oh, you're just not really awake. But that was always a part of me, right? It was like a good habit that I developed since I was 12. And then as I began to study yoga, I was like, all right, there's something deeper here about stilling the mind, that when we still the mind, we create the space for God. Whereas like where I'm talking and I'm praying, I'm talking to God. Whereas in meditating, you're creating this space to be in God's presence. And that's a huge difference. And so I was like, there's something there. And there's something with my Christian background that I could come to and bring these together to make the most sense for me. And, I didn't really never had any intentions of like making it programmative. I was just trying to explore this for myself, like yoga helped heal my body. So I just wanted to dive into that. So I started diving more into this. My injuries flared up again after a couple of years where I couldn't even do yoga, couldn't do a chaturanga on my shoulder. I've had a couple of shoulder surgeries, got a lot of like metal in there and anchors. They were acting up. So literally all I could do, Kate, was I'd walk down to the ocean, cold Pacific, it's sunrise, or in the winter, it's about 55 degrees. And I would just sit in the cold ocean. And if you've been in the cold Pacific during the winter, it's freezing cold. And to be able to,
there's your cryotherapy, right?
For sure. It feels, I went to the ocean this morning first thing. It feels amazing. But for you to be able to withstand that type of cold, and like my goal was to make it 20 minutes, right? So you break it down like, all right, I got in 1 minute. I'm going to go for 2 minutes. I'm going to go for 5. To be able to do that, I started to learn to train the mind as a muscle. Whereas like I could look down above and I would see this body in the cold ocean just shaking and trembling and be removed from it. And so I could see this body and look down from above and started to understand the power of what they say in yoga as far as being the observer in a stressful situation. So you're asking like, how does this affect my everyday life? Let's say, Kate, like you and I are in a business agreement and you do something that I feel violates our contract as a business person. I can react emotionally, or I can draw down from above in that moment, come back to my breath and make a choice that's more along the lines of what I want the outcome to be, that's aligned with who I am as a human being, right? This applies to your personal relationships, right? You always, saying that like, it's never about the dishes, right? It's like, you're able to pick up on that more when you're more mindful and present. And so that's kind of like how it affects me now. It's just put me in a positive mindset every day is how I look. I look at fitness now, Kate, it's like working out creates energy. The meditation, the mind right meditation allows me to connect to my spiritual practice and be a part of something bigger than myself that day, right? Because we go about this day often in 2000, in our time period, where it's all about us, it's all about me. In our meditation, we have you lift up a loved one. We have you connect to something bigger than yourself and understand that you're part of something bigger than you, I think helps us right now, especially right now with COVID. So that's kind of, the merging of my desire to know God with what I learned from yoga and meditation was kind of how this came about. And it never was like, trying to make money off of it or anything. It was just like, hey, I want to create this and share what I've learned from yoga and meditation with the world. And I was told originally never to I've been making these videos now for probably 7 years or so. And I was originally told about never mixed, spirituality with fitness. They're always separate and they're separate for a reason. You're going to piss people off, whatever. And I was like, well, I piss people off. It comes from a good place. I'm sure I don't mind pissing people off. But that looking back 7 years from now for producing content, that's what makes TMAC Fitness special.
That's your niche, Todd. Like whenever, and that's, I think that's with anything. Whenever people say, oh, don't do that. It's never, you're not supposed to do that. It's like, oh, that's actually a great opportunity. It's all how you look at it too, right?
Right. But it was like, it's interesting.
But it's what's true to you.
Right. And I think that's where it's easier looking back now, say, that's what makes TMAC Fitness unique. And that's the niche. But it's like, I wasn't trying to create a niche. I was just trying to help. I was trying to help people. And I knew that after spending, I've been training people in this, for a decade in LA. And I saw that you can work out, you can eat all the right food, you can have all the right doctors, you can hire the right trainers, the right dietitians, and still not be fucking happy. Right. And the goal is to be happy. Right. Like I knew I was getting people physically in shape, but they still weren't happy. So I was like, there's a deeper meaning and a deeper sense of purpose that I personally think that we're all designed for. And so it's never my place, I feel like, tell people what that connection should be for them, what to believe in, but to simply create the space and give them a tangible program that they can do every day. We've got, springtime right now. If you're traveling this summer, you can take this with you. And again, what I try to help people come to us again to lose weight, mostly to get in shape, and we help them meet that goal. But in that process, like our members stay for 4, 5, 6 years. Like we had a dad the other day email me. He's got 4 kids, lives in Virginia, and he did our workout for 365 straight days. Isn't that amazing? Like
That's
on
amazing.
Vacation, it's incredible. And
Good for him.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I was like, oh, this is good. I can't do any better. But it's like they make that transition where, hey, I came to lose weight. You helped me lose weight, but I noticed how happier I was. I was a better father. I was a better husband. I was more productive at work. And they start to see fitness and mindfulness as tools to be a better human.
Yeah.
And that's how I think you make the habits stick.
Yeah. And I feel like with your program, in a sense, Todd, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, because people are learning meditation and building that habit, which can take a while. I mean, for myself, I feel like I'm still working on it. But then you're also, I know, I think I'm going to always have to be working on it and actively creating space and time, which is the same for exercise. But I love that you're combining both. And one thing you said that I also appreciate is, you're not choosing for people who, when they are creating that space for themselves, they have to be connected to God, right? It's to whatever, it's just creating space for your own mind and allowing it. But to me, you're the best and one of the best teachers for it, because it's what aligns with you. And that's when we as teachers are at our best. Because one, you've been through it, right? So like you experienced the yoga and you saw the changes and the effects, and same with mindfulness, but you also stayed true to your path when everyone was saying, oh, don't combine those 2. We don't do that.
Yeah.
But because you're completely aligned, and which I'm sure makes you so happy, it also just makes you a better teacher and able to have people tell you those testimonials, right? And experience it for themselves. I'm curious though, have you ever had people tell you that obviously, they've seen changes with the fitness aspect, but that the meditation piece even like weighed bigger for them?
So I got an email a little while back about, I think it was a son and mother in Australia. And they were saying that their father was dying of a terminal ill disease. And they were in the hospital. And the hospital was like a long drive from where they lived. Yeah. And so they couldn't make the commute anymore every day to go see their father. This is pre-COVID. And so they decided to kind of live at the hospital with the last couple of weeks with his dad, with her husband. And they were doing the TMAC workouts in the hospital rooms with the meditation. And they said that the meditation just allowed them to have the peace of the passing of their father and their husband. So I always get choked up thinking about it, because it's like, that's why we do this, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, these are the tools. Like this woman is losing the person that she's loved and known the most in her life. This son is losing her father. And in the midst of all this pain, they're able to connect and move. This is an older lady and a young fit guy doing this. And they're helping in this tough time. And when we talk about getting our mind right, so to speak, that's kind of like our slogan here. That's exactly what it fucking is, right there. It's hard to put it in words, but like you know it when you see it.
Yeah, and I love, just for anyone listening too, if we all have goals we're trying to achieve or things we want to start. I know for myself, actually, about a year ago, it was meditation. And if you're looking to start moving more or find a fitness program you can connect with, because people can still be active, but if they're like, I still haven't found that program that's right for me, but they're also like, oh, another one of my goals is to start meditating or being more mindful. I mean, it's the perfect combination. And again, where you still have, it's not, oh, you need an hour to do both. It's like, give me 20 minutes. And like you said in the beginning, I'm telling you, after 20 minutes, you will feel better. You will, react to stress, but all these other things too, right? You're just going to be able to perform better throughout the day.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
So what I was going to say was, I didn't know what this term meant, or I didn't realize that we did this until I read Atomic Habits, where James Clear was talking about habit stacking, right?
Yes.
So what we did was we took the habit of working out, right? Like, so if you're listening right now, and you're a runner, and you've got like running down, that's your thing. You're trying to figure out how you're going to work. You've heard this meditation thing helps people. You're stressed in your life. You're going through it, etc. But where do you fit this meditation in? Do your morning run. And then just try our mind right meditation. It takes 4 minutes, 5 minutes immediately after I run. Before you come home and shower, if I do a trail run, I'll literally finish the run and sit at the end of the trail before I go back to the car and do the meditation. Again, you're just taking your good habit, as James Clear talks about, and you're stacking this new one on. And again, I didn't realize we were doing that, but I think that's why. For example, I got an email from this guy outside in Georgia. He's like, I'm doing that meditation thing every day and I feel good. I don't know why, and it's like, if you just stacked it on. But if you told that guy in rural Georgia to go, sit cross-legged in a yoga studio and do mantras all day, he'd probably tell you to go fuck off. Like, there's no way he's doing that. Yeah. Right. So I just take the habit that you have and just stack this mind right meditation on. And if you just go to the website, you can get it for free. It's on YouTube and stuff like that.
No, I agree. That's actually probably the piece I used most from Atomic Habits with clients, because it also it helps form that habit. Because if you just say, it's kind of like, if someone's taking let's say we'll use supplements as example. Oh, just take your supplements every day. Okay. Well, we're going to easily forget that. But then you pair it with, you make it obvious, which we'll talk about. You make it obvious and put it next to your coffee pot if that's where you go. And you have a glass of water there always. And it's such a powerful tool.
Now, give me, since you're in the supplement business, how do you see, because I love those examples, which you just said. I'm curious, what are some of the habits that you've seen help people get in? Because I'll share with you mine too over the years. Yeah. And I had all the supplements, given to me and stuff, and they just sit there.
And that's most people, Todd.
Yeah. So they just sit there. And I was like, okay, these things are kind of expensive, but they sit there. But so I'm curious, how have you seen them as far as a habit stacking, so to speak, work?
So it's funny. I actually did a presentation for some of our retailers, and I made sure it was on sleep and stress, but I made sure to include 2 or 3 slides just on, okay, we recommended some things, but now let's actually implement it. What you were talking about actually before we started recording is now, how do we fit it into your life? So I think actually the make it obvious part and the habit stacking part are 2 of the biggest ones. So going through that, I will say with most supplements, it is best if you're taking it with food. So for myself, for example, that means I am putting my supplements, even if, because I feel like a lot of people put them in their cabinets, and that may be a cabinet that you don't open in the morning.
Right.
You're not going to take that supplement, or, medication, whatever you need to. So it's more so, where am I going to be if I want to take it with breakfast in the morning, because usually I'm home. So first thinking, okay, what meal am I usually home for? And then, where will I typically eat that meal? What cabinet will I open if I'm grabbing a plate or, a cup, etc. So for me, I actually keep it right by where we eat. So it's like, okay, I finished my food. Supplements are in my face. And then for myself, I take magnesium every night, which I love. And so I put that on our coffee table, because we're usually watching a show, or I'm on my laptop finishing up some work, but that's where we're spending our time. So making it obvious for yourself that it's right in front of your face, and making it just easier for yourself. Or you can also combine it with habit stacking. Same with okay, once I'm done my meal, I take my supplements. Or I know some people like to do it first thing in the morning. Again, sometimes better to take it with food, but maybe again, it's like, if your coffee pot is the first place you go, first, I would suggest, having 16 ounces of water right there with you, drinking that first and taking your supplements while your coffee is being brewed. But making it easy for yourself too, in that sense. And also for some people, I know they just don't like to have, especially if you're taking a bunch or you have a bunch of medications, they don't like to have all the bottles out. Then get yourself, one of the nice little, compartments that tells you like morning and evening, and you just have to take that around, which you could also, pop in your bag if you're traveling, or going out for the day or something like that. So those are probably my top tips for taking them.
No, I think what you just said is kind of what has been working for me as well. It's like, I know, let me backtrack real quick. So I had multivitamins and stuff in the house, and they just sat there. And I have a pretty bad sweet tooth in the evening. So I was like, all right, like even like this yogurt's got too much sugar in it, right? So let's see if we can get rid of this sweet tooth. And I was looking up, and I had all these vitamins these folks had sent me, and I was like, those are gummies. Like those can't be the best quality, but I bet they taste really freaking good right now. And so I started using the gummy multivitamin to help me with my sweet tooth.
Totally.
And so now every night after dinner, I go grab the shit out of my little gummy multivitamins. And then I'm like, all right, well, here's my vitamin D K3, right? Here's my vitamin C.
Yep.
Here's my zinc. Here's my magnesium. And then I just knock them out. But it's like, they just sit there forever until I started like, all right, well, I really want to get rid of the sweet tooth, and those freaking gummies, I bet they taste good.
No, Todd, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was actually one of the things we talked about too, was take it in the form that you're going to remember to take. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of people, it is gummies, because if they're extra delicious, you're more inclined to take it. So also buying the form, because, there's no point if you have, let's say, the gel cap or soft gels sitting in your cabinet for a year versus taking those gummies every day. That's a huge difference. So take it in the form that you're going to remember.
All of the other ones aren't gummies. They're all gel caps. But
it gets that habit going, right? It's like, okay, it's supplement time, but you got to that supplement time because you're like, ooh, I gotta take that yummy gummy multivitamin.
Absolutely.
I love, and actually following up on that, for keeping people moving and working on their fitness goals, and even just making sure, let's say with your program, they're doing their 20 minutes each day. How can people prime their environment to make sure that habit sticks?
Yeah. So you're talking about making it obvious, right? So you literally need zero equipment. I always say that if you have a yoga mat, that helps. So you can put the yoga mat out. It's like wherever you're going to do that practice, go ahead and lay the yoga mat out. So I do my workout literally right there in the living room. I can't go out the front door. My yoga mat's right there. And so it's just obvious to me that before I go out that door, there's the yoga mat. Like it's obvious for me. It's accessible. So wherever it may be a bonus room, it could be your living room. It could be, you may be in a 1-bedroom place. You literally just put your yoga mat right next to like when you wake up in the morning, where it's obvious and it's there. And so you see it and you're like, all right, I told myself I'm going to do this. So just kind of priming that and making it obvious, kind of like you said about the vitamins.
Yeah. And think about it. That just made me think about too, if you're deciding where you're going to exercise, if you realize you never go in your basement, even if your yoga mat's probably laid out down there, you're not going to see it. So also it's all these little decisions that really do add up in such a big way.
And a little off topic here, but I think COVID is interesting, because I think that a lot of us it's given us a chance to kind of rethink and reprogram our environments, meaning that I could really care less about how big a house I'm in, but I have to be close to nature, right? Yep. So like I have to prime myself. I think a lot of people are asking these questions now. It's like, now I can work remote. Like, do I have to live in a bigger city? Do I have to work the extra 10 hours to get the 3-car garage, right? Like, what's really important, and creating these environments that ultimately will, I think, make us happier. I don't know. It's a little off subject, but I think COVID's given us a great chance to kind of really think about what uplifts us. Because I've seen a lot of people now move to smaller rural towns, like closer to where they grew up, because they can work from home now and they get to spend more time with their family.
Yeah, it's actually, Todd, it's so funny you say this because my husband and I, so we live in Santa Cruz right now, but we're from Philadelphia. We are East Coasters at heart. And Santa Cruz isn't the most affordable place. And so we live in a very small 1-bedroom. I feel fortunate that we do have an extra, little studio space, which is my closet, my gym, and my office. So we're making it work, right? It's everything.
Everything.
And while that's great and it's working, it's also, and we live 2 blocks from the beach, very fortunate for that. Yeah. But we also would like more space, and it's just tough in California too. And we had the opportunity present itself we are now moving to Wilmington, North Carolina.
Congrats.
And thank you. And we're so excited. And obviously, more affordable, can actually have more, oh my gosh, and can have more space. But it was so interesting. We went down to visit to make sure it was a good fit for us. And, they were saying, and this was a few months ago, and they had already said, they're like, oh, we've already had over 100,000 people move here. And I think that, like what you said, so many people are finding that. And even just, friends and family members we talk to, everyone's reevaluating their environment, and which we know plays such a big part in not only, we talk about like your habits and things like that, but your happiness and what aligns with you as a person. And we are very much like outdoor people. We need to be by the water. And it's so funny you said it, because we're completely in the same boat of how can you create the life that you want? And that's something we've always been very much sticklers on, is controlling and creating our own life versus just being dictated by the job you have or where family lives and things like that. And really coming to alignment, just like how you created your program with really just what aligned with you. And that brings out that natural joy. And then I always think people are able to be their best and highest self when they're really aligned, including their environment.
Yep. And I think it's just, you have to kind of tying into like, what are the habits or what are the things that people can do to like build a new routine? And we talked about the first part is understanding why you want to lose that weight. And it's something we, again, the first to recap this, bring it around like full circle. Remember, the first thing was going back to the why of you want to do this. Most people jump into choosing this job, wanting to lose 10 pounds, and don't take the time to understand why. And that takes some soul work. And that to me brings you into the meditation and the mindfulness and the stillness, because if you don't create that stillness on a daily basis, you will just be subject to your environment. Right? It will just be automatic reactions that you get a stressor and you react a certain way. But if you're able to create that space and that mindfulness, and I always say that the mind is just like any other muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. It allows you to create that space to be more aligned, that when you choose that next job, when you choose that where you want to live, who your partner is, it's in alignment with who you are.
Yeah. And it goes back, it makes me think about something that we preach a lot, especially on the show, is being, so reactionary with your health too. If you have a diagnosis or something goes wrong, you're just reacting constantly versus taking control of it. And that's where mindfulness can come into play. And, creating health is really like what we like to say versus just being so reactionary to it. So I love that, like, it all just comes full circle with everything. And I'm curious, Todd, for you, what's like a typical day in the life for yourself, and how do you fit like meditation and exercise and nutrition and just health in general into your daily routine?
So it's changed a lot over the years. And I would say that I've been intentional in doing this. But when you're building a business, you're grinding. There's a period where you have to grind. There's no doubt about it. Now, I look back at how many wasted hours I was doing it to know the fuck I was doing. But there's a grind period, right? And so when I started this, now I have an online platform, right? It's a membership-based business. Everything's online. But for 10 years, 9 years, I trained people one-on-one in LA. And so I would be training 9 clients a day, sometimes driving from Santa Monica to West Hollywood I would get up, I put 4:30 sometimes, 5 a.m., 5:30, you have your first clients, and then I would finish around 9 p.m. And so like everyone there, I just carried a yoga mat with me in my old beat up Jeep, and I'd find 20 minutes here and just knock out on the park. People probably thought I was homeless. And so even then, when I have like a 5:30 a.m. client, I always tell all these other trainers, like, it is your responsibility to be in a positive mindset when you show up to that 5:30 a.m. client. You should not be in the same mindset as your client at 5:30. You're there to lead by example. And so I started to develop a habit of, like, even to this day, like, I move and connect. That's really my program. I move and connect every morning before I look at my phone, before I check emails, before I check social media, and I control my mindset first thing. So this morning, it's kind of more of a recovery day for me. Just when I was unfortunate, I live by the ocean, went down, jumped in the ocean, did my meditation. And that's before you look at social media and emails. And I think that's something that during this time of COVID is something that's really brought to light for me, is this, like, we can control the inputs. Like, it's our responsibility to control the inputs. And if you wake up in the morning looking at your phone, you are going to get all this stimulus. It's most likely negative, right? And it's your responsibility to control those inputs. And so for me, that's moving and connecting every day. And then now I'm fortunate where I'm not training people all day, or we're writing programs or creating content, or I'm going to write some more workouts right now, and we're going to film again in 2 or 3 weeks. And we're just launching different parts of our program, servicing our community. So it's a lot different now, putting together a weekly email today, that type of thing. But I was intentional in creating this, where I didn't want to train. I knew I could not train people, even though the money was great. Like, I could not train people 9 people a day for the rest of my life. So it was like I would take the profits from most people who didn't know me, just thought I was running an online fitness business the whole time. That I gave that away for probably 2 or 3 years on YouTube for free. I just took the profits from my personal training business and created content and just listened to what the market wanted. Like, it started off as 50-minute to hour-long workouts, and heard enough people say that we only have 20 minutes. And so I was like, how the hell do I get you in shape in 20 minutes? So I took that 50-minute program and chopped it down to the bare essentials for 20. But all that happened while I was personal training. So people are always talking like, hey, I want to quit my job and start a new business. I'm like, don't quit your job right now. Like, take whatever money you have and then start, exploring the side hustle on nights and weekends. And the reality is, if you're not willing to work nights and weekends, being an entrepreneur probably isn't for you. It doesn't mean you're any better or worse of a person, but like, that's the type of work it takes. And so, yeah, that's my daily routine. I think that'll be like until the day, even on vacation, right? It's like I move every day and I connect to my spiritual practice first thing. That's non-negotiable. So if we were all going to vacation, you just know that Todd's going to needs his moments to move and connect before he does anything else.
Yeah. And it's just 20 minutes, right? It's 20 minutes. And like you said, you can bring it anywhere. There's no equipment needed. And sometimes too, if you're not doing the exercise piece of it, you just need your mind, right? You just need you.
This morning, again, I didn't even exercise. I went for a walk, jumped in the ocean, and did the meditation, right? So the formula, you shock the system. So if you're like, you may like to run, you may like to lift at the gym. Like, we have CrossFits that, before COVID, they would do their WOD, and they'd sit there as a community and do the meditation afterwards. So just add the meditation afterwards. And I really want to encourage you to control your mindset and take ownership of that first thing before you look at your phone.
I would love, Todd, before we wrap up, if you're open to it, if we could do a short meditation just to give people an idea, and especially help show people too, if they don't currently meditate, just how attainable it is.
Sure. Let's do it. Again, I'll always preference say you'll get a little bit out of this, something out of this today. You'll get more out of it if you do it right after your exercise. But for everyone listening, don't close your eyes and be driving. So for everyone else, if you can, take a seat, just get seated for a second. You don't have to, again, there's nothing fancy about it. Just kind of close your eyes. Just let the room sink in. It's just a 4-part meditation. We don't really time each part, but we'll kind of just guide you through it. So the first part is just a moment of gratitude, right? Got a chance to maybe move your body today. You've got friends and family in your life, a roof over your head, food to eat. Even during tough times, and the year has been tough for all of us, you can find moments of gratitude. So whatever it is you're grateful for, just make it personal right now. It could be someone in your life, whatever it may be, just take a moment of gratitude. Now I want you to shift your focus to lifting up a loved one. Imagine a glowing light hovering over them as they go about their day. This could be a friend, a family member, could be going through a tough time. Just pour blessings upon them. Understand that we're all connected. I often say that one of the things I often visualize is my brother's a police officer. I see him coming home from his work. His kids are waiting on the porch, waiting for him, giving him a big hug. A smile comes across his face. A smile comes across the kid's face. And there's just a glowing light hovering over them. Lift up that special someone to you right now. Now, this third part, I want you to visualize success today. What does it look like? More importantly, what does it feel like? It could be a business meeting, a sales call. It could be as simple as going for a walk after dinner with your kids, maybe going to soccer practice. So what does a good day look like? Step into that moment now. See it happen before it happens. And finally, I just want you to be still. Listen to the rise and the fall of the breath, the sounds of the room. Just be. Thoughts may come in and out of the mind. Just imagine it's a balloon coming by. You acknowledge it. You pop the balloon and let it pass right through. Just be. Slowly start to bring some awareness back to the body. Gently open the eyes. God bless.
Oh, that was so good. I don't know about for you, but whenever I do a meditation, I feel like when you open your eyes, you're waking up for the first time again. Like you do, you just feel, I always feel more energized, unless it's a sleep meditation. I usually don't make it through the whole thing. But energized, but with a calm energy, if that makes sense. Yeah. With clarity, you do. It's just like, you just feel awake and alive. So thank you. That was so great.
I hope it helped for everyone listening. I hope it helped. And
yeah. And know you can always come back to this episode and listen to that meditation. So we do like to, Todd, wrap up every show. Before we find out where we can connect with you, we just have 3 rapid fire questions for you. So first thing that comes to mind, which the first one we may have gone over, but you may surprise us with something else.
All right, go for it.
Is what is your favorite de-stressing practice or tool?
I mean, that's working out. Like, I need to move my body. Like, I'm an angry son of a bitch if I don't move my body. Like, don't talk to me until I've worked out. And then again, the meditation afterwards, we kind of talked about it, right? Like working out and then switching over the nervous system, I found for me to be really important to kind of tap more into the parasympathetic with the meditation. Those, like, I do that on the daily.
Love it. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, hands down. Are you kidding me?
And how do you take it?
Well, I almost jumped on this earlier when you said the coffee was brewing. I don't even trust people who don't French press. I mean,
I know we're French pressers over here, but
no, all my friends with like 3 kids are like, screw you, don't have time to French press. But yeah, I French press. I'll drink it black a couple of days a week, and the other days I'll do a bulletproof, and I'll, like, as part of like a 16-hour fast every day. Nice. Like 5 days a week, I do a 16-hour fast. But this morning it's just straight black coffee.
Nice. And you know what? It's still brewing when you pour the water in. You got to let it steep for a little bit, right? But yeah, no, we're French press people too. Probably because it's only 2 of us, I will say.
Right. Throw a couple of those in, a little bit run around, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, I am pregnant with our first.
Congrats.
So we're getting ready for those life changes. I'm like, even my sister yesterday is like, she has 2 kids under the age of 3, and she's like, sleep as much as you can. I'm like, oh geez. I'm like, I'll take you up on that. Okay, this is my favorite question. What is your favorite home cooked meal?
Ooh, home cooked meal. Well, I mean, a beer and a steak. I mean, you can't beat that. Now, is home cooked meal, let's be specific. Is this something I would cook, or like going back home?
Oh, either. It could be something your family makes, something you make.
I love doing a steak on a cast iron with some broccolini, and then I'll have a glass of tequila. That is like money for me. Going back home, I mean, Pops can cook. So I'll give Pop some credit. We'll do some, deer meat wrapped in bacon. Something like that.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, this was awesome. And I'm so excited for people to hopefully after this episode want to connect with you. And where's the best place they can do that? Where can they sign up to join your community and do your workouts and meditation? Give me all the things.
So try to keep it as simple as possible. For everyone out there, they can get access to 10 free days of the workouts. They can get the free meditation. All that's free. Don't throw your credit card. Just go to tmacfitness.com. It's TMAC Fitness. If you're on Instagram, you can hop on our Instagram. I'm usually on there doing workouts and a little bit of meditation and stuff like that. So Instagram's TMAC Fitness as well. Yeah, those are the 2 places. If you have any questions, reach out. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Todd.